The Chicago Sky teammates of Angel Reese, Ariel, Atkins, Rachel Banham, Courtney Vandersloot, 3 ladies which were targeted in that hit piece that Angel Reese slid underneath the table. Yeah, they responded. Not only did they respond, but the Chicago Sky responded as well.
The unthinkable just happened in Chicago. Angel Reese, the player who was supposed to be the face of the Sky franchise, has been completely abandoned by her own teammates. And we're not talking about some behind-the-scenes whispers or subtle shade. No, this is a full-blown public execution that's sending shockwaves through the entire WNBA. What started as Reese throwing her teammates under the bus has now completely backfired, and the very people she criticized are the ones holding the smoking gun. This isn't just drama anymore. This is career-ending stuff, and Angel Reese might have just sealed her fate in Chicago forever. Here's what nobody saw coming. After Angel Reese went nuclear on her own teammates in that explosive Chicago Tribune interview.
That thing is over. Angel Reese is done in Chicago. They're going to move on. They have to.
Calling them out by name and basically saying they weren't good enough to win with. Something unprecedented happened. Instead of taking it quietly like most players would, her teammates decided they'd had enough. Ariel, Atkins, Rachel Banham, and Courtney Vandersloot, 3 players who Reese specifically targeted, didn't just respond. They obliterated her. The Chicago Sky organization.
I'm not settling for the same shit we did this year. Oh boy. Reese told the Tribune, we have to get good players. We have to get great players. That's a non-negotiable for me. I'm willing and wanting to play with the best. And however I can help to get the best here, that's what I'm going to do this offseason. So it's going to be very, very important this offseason to make sure we attract the best of the best, because we can't settle for what we have this year.
Which had been bending over backwards to accommodate their supposed franchise player, finally drew a line in the sand. And that line was painted in Angel Reese's blood. We're talking about a complete organizational shift that happened in real time, and it's unlike anything we've ever seen in professional basketball. When your own front office starts backing your team.
She's at, Reese said. I know she'll be a great asset for us, but we can't rely on that. We need someone probably a little younger with some experience, somebody who's been playing the game and is willing to compete for a championship and has done it before. Courtney Vandersloot, by the way, 2-time WNBA champion, 5-time All-Star, 2-time All-WNBA first team, left the New York Liberty, a championship caliber team, to come help out the Chicago. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Oh, dang. Oh, damn. It's all right, Courtney.
Mates, over you. That's not just a red flag. That's a funeral for your career. But let's back up and understand how we got to this nuclear meltdown. Angel Reese wasn't just having a bad season. She was actively destroying everything around her. While missing games left and right with suspensions and mysterious injuries, she somehow still managed to lead the entire league in turnovers. Think about that for a second. Most players need to be on the court consistently to rack up that many mistakes. Reese was doing it part-time, which tells you everything about her impact when she actually showed up. The breaking point came when Reese decided to air her frustrations publicly, and she didn't hold back. In that Tribune feature, she essentially said the quiet part out loud, that her teammates weren't championship material. But here's where it gets...
Like, what is going to happen with Angel Reese at this point? I think she's done playing.
Really ugly. She specifically went after Courtney Vandersloot, a 2-time WNBA champion and 5-time All-Star, who literally left a championship caliber team in New York to come help rebuild Chicago. Reese looked at this basketball legend and said she was too old to rely on. The audacity was breathtaking. What makes this even more devastating is the context everyone seems to be forgetting. When Angel Reese was shooting a pathetic 27% on layups, and missing shot after shot while fans were literally betting money on her.
I was missing mad layups. You was shooting like 27% on layups. I saw Ariel Atkins at the podium holding you down. I didn't see none of your teammates going in the media blasting your ass for not being able to make a damn layup. We haven't seen none of your teammates come out and flame you for how you was missing layups back to back to back to back to back. You had like 8 straight games where these dudes won hundreds of thousands of dollars betting that you would miss your first shot. None of your teammates came out and embarrassed you publicly.
Failures. Did any of her teammates throw her under the bus? Absolutely not. Ariel Atkins was at press conferences defending her. Veterans were covering for her mistakes. The entire locker room was protecting a player who clearly wasn't ready for the spotlight she demanded. But Reese saw that protection and mistook it for weakness. She thought she could criticize everyone else while her own game was falling apart. The woman who was coughing up the ball more than anyone in the league was
highly surprised if Angel Reese is on the Chicago Sky's roster come the start of the 2026 or the 2027 season. The Chicago Sky, they might be saying to themselves, Angel Reese just isn't worth the headache that she is causing. Great rebounder. As for everything else, she's not worth the headache that
finding better players around her. It's like watching someone crash their car and then blame the road for being too bumpy. The organizational investment in Angel Reese makes this situation even more tragic. The Sky didn't just draft her and hope for the best. They completely restructured their franchise around her vision. They traded away the number 3 overall pick, Sonia Citron, to bring in Ariel Atkins specifically to complement Reese's style of play. This wasn't a small gamble. This was the front office putting all their chips on Angel being the cornerstone of something special in Chicago. But instead of unity, that investment created chaos. Instead of leadership, it bred resentment. And instead of a championship culture, it fostered an environment where the supposed franchise player was openly questioning whether her supporting cast was even worth keeping around. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Then came the moment that changed everything. When Ariel Atkins, the respected veteran who was brought in specifically to help Angel succeed, found herself having to defend teammates against her own franchise player, something snapped. Atkins handled it with the class of a true professional, but you could tell this wasn't what she signed up for. She came to Chicago to win basketball games, not to manage the ego of someone who wasn't even performing at an elite level. Rachel Banham's response was even more telling. When asked about the situation, she didn't dance around it or give some diplomatic non-answer. She said she was so over all this and that she just didn't care anymore. That wasn't apathy talking. That was exhaustion. Banham had seen enough locker room drama throughout her career to know when someone was poisoning the well, and she was done pretending otherwise. But Courtney Vandersloot's response hit different. This is a player who has earned every ounce of respect in this league through her consistency, her leadership, and her championship pedigree. When Angel Reese questioned her value based on age, Vandersloot fired back with the confidence of someone who has actually accomplished something at the highest level. She made it clear that her age wasn't a factor and that she was coming back better than ever. The subtext was obvious. She didn't need validation from someone who couldn't even make layups consistently. What followed was something you rarely see in professional sports. The teammates stopped covering for Angel Reese in public. There was a players-only meeting specifically to address what everyone knew was the elephant in the room. Their own franchise player had become a cancer in the locker room. And after that meeting, the protection was gone. Players started prioritizing their own careers over shielding someone who clearly didn't appreciate the sacrifice. Meanwhile, Angel Reese kept finding new ways to miss games. The technical fouls piled up until she hit the automatic suspension threshold. The mysterious back injury kept her sidelined for weeks, and unlike other injured players who stay engaged with their teams, Reese wasn't even traveling with the squad. Compare that to someone like Caitlin Clark, who stayed glued to the sidelines even when her own body limited her play, actively coaching teammates and showing the kind of investment that screams leadership. The most damning part? Reports started surfacing that the Chicago Sky actually looked better without Angel Reese on the floor. The ball moved faster, the offense flowed smoother, and the entire team seemed to play with less chaos. When your absence makes the team better, that's not an injury concern. That's an identity crisis. Which brings us to the comparison that's driving Angel Reese absolutely crazy, Caitlin Clark. While Reese was busy criticizing her supporting cast and making excuses, Clark was doing the opposite. She took one of the worst franchises in the WNBA and somehow convinced everyone to believe again. When Clark was too banged up to play, she was still on the sideline pointing out sets, celebrating when teammates got hot, and pulling players aside to show them better positioning. The Indiana Fever didn't see her injury as abandonment. They saw it as leadership in street clothes. The contrast couldn't be more obvious. Clark leaned into the team she had and made everyone around her better. Reese acted like she needed a trade machine to spin her better running mates. One approach builds championship culture, the other destroys it from within. And fans aren't stupid. They can see which player actually lifts others and which one just lifts herself. The Chicago Sky's response to all this drama speaks volumes about where their priorities really lie. When they suspended Reese for conduct detrimental to the team, they weren't just punishing bad behavior. They were sending a message to every other player on that roster. They were saying that talent doesn't give you a free pass to destroy team chemistry, and that protecting the locker room culture matters more than protecting individual egos. The writing is on the wall now, and it's written in permanent ink. Angel Reese's teammates have publicly moved on from her. The organization has shown they're willing to discipline her, and the fan base is gravitating toward players who actually demonstrate leadership qualities. When you're leading the league in turnovers while missing significant time, demanding roster overhauls while your own play is inconsistent, and criticizing champions while you've never won anything meaningful yourself, you're not building a legacy, you're destroying one. This isn't just about basketball anymore. This is about character, accountability, and what it truly means to be a franchise player. Angel Reese wanted to be the face of Chicago basketball, but she confused being demanding with being a leader. She mistook criticism for motivation and ego for excellence. The result is a cautionary tale about what happens when talent isn't matched with maturity. The saddest part? This was all preventable. Angel Reese had everything she needed to succeed in Chicago: organizational support, talented teammates, and a city ready to embrace her. Instead of building on that foundation, she spent her time pointing out cracks that existed mostly in her own reflection. The mirror isn't broken at all. Angel just didn't like what she saw looking back at her. As we watch the situation continue to unfold, one thing is crystal clear. The Chicago Sky have made their choice, and it isn't Angel Reese. Her teammates have spoken with their actions and their words. The organization has shown where their loyalty lies. And the fans are already looking toward a future that prioritizes team-first mentality over individual drama. Angel Reese may have thought she was holding all the cards in Chicago, but she just discovered that in professional basketball, chemistry beats talent every single time. And right now, the Sky's chemistry is a whole lot better when their supposed franchise player is nowhere to be found.